Get all of it.
Well, at least that one wasn't your fault.
Turn to the Northwest's most watched newscast at 6:30. K2 News.
On World News Tonight this Sunday, violent demonstrations break out across Iraq as thousands of angry Shiites confront coalition forces. The U.S. death toll for the war now tops 600. The insanity defense, the mother who said God told her to kill her children, is found not guilty. United in surviving a horror, victims of the Holocaust and the genocide in Rwanda share their lessons in life. And celebrating the survival of a famous men's chorus. More than 100 voices lost to AIDS.
And it's left my heart in pain.
From ABC News, this is World News Tonight Sunday with Elizabeth Vargas reporting tonight from New York.
Good evening. There was a series of violent demonstrations and firefights across Iraq today, killing at least 7 American soldiers and wounding at least 24. Iraqi protesters are furious after coalition forces arrested a top aide to an influential anti-American Shiite cleric. They vented their anger in 5 major cities. The most violent demonstrations happened in Baghdad and outside Najaf. More than 20 Iraqis were killed and hundreds injured. ABC's John Berman joins us now from Baghdad. John, what can you tell us about the firefight there?
Elizabeth, a battle raged into the night here in Baghdad between U.S. troops and Iraqi Shiites. A Shiite militia tried to seize control of a government building and police stations in one Iraqi neighborhood. U.S. forces went in to regain control, which they say they have at enormous cost. Several U.S. troops killed. This after a day of intense violence all over this country. Today, Iraqi Shiites put their anger on display. It began with thousands marching on the Spanish garrison near the holy city of Najaf. It quickly turned deadly. The battle went on for hours. Heavy gunfire between the protesters and coalition forces. U.S. fighter jets and helicopters were called in for assistance. The coalition says the demonstrators fired first, storming the Spanish camp. The Iraqis tell a different story. The bullet went into my hand, says this man. We were demonstrating peacefully, but they shot us. The demonstrators are followers of the young Shia cleric Muqtada al-Sadr. He is fiercely anti-American, demanding an immediate end to the occupation and power for the Shia majority. The protesters in Najaf and elsewhere are calling for the release of an aide to al-Sadr, arrested by the coalition in connection with a murder. U.S. Administrator Paul Bremer condemned today's violence.
This will not be tolerated by the coalition. This will not be tolerated by the Iraqi people.
Al-Sadr is by no means supported by all Shiites in Iraq, but today he is flexing his muscle all over the country. In Nasiriyah, protesters set fire to an Italian military vehicle. And in Baghdad, a demonstration in the city center brought traffic to a standstill. A demonstration that was broken up by gunfire. Last week, the coalition shut down a newspaper run by al-Sadr because it said the paper might provoke violence. Tonight, the threat of violence has become a reality. This could mark a dangerous turning point in this country. Up until now, most of the violence against coalition forces has come in Sunni strongholds like Tikrit and Fallujah. If even a small part of this Shia majority turns violent, it could make a peaceful transition to Iraqi power even more difficult than it already is. Elizabeth.
All right, John Berman in Baghdad. ABC's military analyst Tony Cordesman joins us now from Washington, D.C. How big a concern is this growing violence now by the majority Shiites as opposed to the Sunnis?
Well, it's very serious, because if we were to lose the Shiites, we'd lose our hope of nation building. There's something like 60% of the population. But it is important to note that Sadr is a minority faction, that his militia only has about 5,000 men, and that the person who was arrested for murder was arrested for murdering another Shiite leader. not an American.
This cleric, al-Sadr, has always been vehemently anti-American, but his call today to, quote, terrorize the enemy seems to be an escalation in his tactics. Is that true?
Well, exactly that. As the sort of struggle for power breaks out, with June 30th coming up, he can only compete through violence. He can't find popular support. He isn't going to win any elections, but if he can divide the country, divide the Shiites against the United States, then even though he's a very junior cleric, he might emerge as a major winner in the struggle for power.
So then what's motivating him now might not be just anti-American sentiment, but actually internal Iraqi politics.
Exactly right. This is almost certainly more a matter of Iraqi politics than simply hatred of Americans or the coalition.
All right, Tony Cordesman, our military analyst, thanks so much. Today's violence means the total number of Americans killed in Iraq since the start of the war is now more than 600. Today's attacks and the savage killings in Fallujah earlier this week have raised concerns in Congress as well about the upcoming transfer of power to the Iraqis on June 30th. ABC's George Stephanopoulos reports some senators are beginning to question this arbitrary deadline.
Exactly right. I had the Republican chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Richard Lugar, on the program this morning, Elizabeth, and he was highly critical of the administration for failing to plan for the turnover after June 30th, for failing to bring in allies, for failing to consult with the Congress, and he's especially worried about this rising violence that you talk about and the prospect of civil war.
It may be that we do need more troops.
But you'd be for more troops now.
Yes, because I think we have to have security. I'm really not haunted by the June 30 problem, but I just see this as a time in which suddenly we give sovereignty to somebody. Now the question is to whom, and how do they secure that?
The administration, George, however, is under enormous pressure, both from Shiite clerics inside Iraq and from our allies outside Iraq to get out or to hand over control on June 30th. Is it possible for the administration to extend that deadline politically?
Very, very tough for them, although a call for it from a Republican ally like Richard Lugar could help them build a bridge if they want it. But all indications are from this administration is that they want to stick to that June 30th deadline because they know the minute they show any flexibility, people in Iraq will try to take advantage of it and prevent the plan altogether.
In the meantime, Senator Lugar is holding hearings about possibly exploring the option of moving this deadline?
He will. He's planning them for next week. He's going to call administration officials from the Defense Department, from the State Department, up before the Congress. He's very concerned about this June 30th deadline, and you may see him call there for extending it.
ABC's George Stephanopoulos, thank you so much. In Spain, the alleged mastermind of the Madrid train bombings is dead. The Tunisian man was one of 5 suspects who apparently blew themselves up when police tried to arrest them yesterday. One officer was killed. Investigators found hundreds of detonators and 22 pounds of explosives in the apartment. Back here in the U.S., there was a surprising verdict in Texas this weekend. A woman who says God told her to kill her children was acquitted by reason of insanity. The jury in Tyler, Texas ruled Deanna Laney was legally insane when she killed her 6- and 8-year-old boys and attacked her infant son. ABC's Mike Von Fremd reports from Dallas.
If the defendant will stand at this time, please.
In a state where juries are notorious for handing down harsh sentences, this verdict took many by surprise.
We, the jury, unanimously and by a preponderance of the evidence, find the defendant, Deanna Laney, not guilty by reason of insanity.
The 39-year-old housewife was a pillar of her Pentecostal church and homeschooled her children. She had no history of mental illness and had never committed a crime. The jurors watched videotape of Laney explaining in excruciating detail how last May she woke her 3 boys one by one and repeatedly struck them with a rock.
I just told them to turn their head that way when they didn't see it.
All 5 psychiatrists who examined Laney found her to be insane, saying she was delusional, hearing the voice of God telling her to take the lives of her children.
I think there's no question whatsoever that she was seriously mentally ill.
Still is.
Correct.
The prosecution hired Dr. Park Dietz, expecting him to reach a different conclusion. In 2002, he testified that a Houston mother, Andrea Yates, knew right from wrong when she drowned her 5 children. Yates said she heard the voice of the devil telling her to do it. Yates was convicted of murder, sentenced to life in prison. But Dietz said Laney's case is different because he believes she did not know right from wrong.
God's telling her to do it, and she doesn't want to do it, if this is a battle between good and evil, how is she to know which of those is good and which is evil?
Even though Laney was acquitted, she remains in jail. She will soon be taken to a maximum security state psychiatric hospital. Laney could eventually be set free if psychiatric evaluations determine she has recovered and is no longer a threat to society. Mike Von Fremd, ABC News, Dallas.
Still ahead on World News Tonight this Sunday, getting college athletes to shine in the classroom as much as they do on the basketball court. New plans by the NCAA. Survivors of different generations and genocides offer their stories to help the world change. And notes of celebration and sorrow, the story of the Seattle Men's Chorus and AIDS.
This is World News Tonight Sunday, brought to you by Terminix.
It's termite season. Terminix them with our exclusive problem-solved guarantee. 1-800-TERMINIX. It's termite swarm season. Terminix them with our exclusive problem-solved guarantee. 1-800-TERMINIX.
Ask your doctor if Celebrex is right for you. Or call 1-888-CELEBREX.
Maple and brown sugar broccoli. A good source of fiber, but a very bad idea. Kellogg's Maple and Brown Sugar Frosted Mini Wheats. Even more fiber with real maple flavor baked right in. Now there's an idea.
Announcing an amazing achievement in sports. The end of messy athlete's foot cream with maximum strength Gold Bond foot swabs. Snap to release the only medicine proven to cure and prevent most athletes' foot. Gold Bond foot swabs, the no mess, no touch cure.
Every one of the 12 varieties of Mrs. Dash seasoning blends has 14 natural herbs and spices, so now you can add bold flavor to any dish. And since Mrs. Dash has always been salt-free with no MSG, you can create great-tasting, healthy meals that are full of only one thing: mouth-watering flavor. Mrs. Dash, salt-free, flavorful.
Break up the full feeling of indigestion and pain with Alka-Seltzer.
In sports, the UConn Huskies take on Georgia Tech in tomorrow night's NCAA men's final. Most of the players on the court are gifted athletes, but not quite as stellar in the classroom. It's a problem throughout college sports, and this month the NCAA is expected to pass new regulations, ensuring more student athletes graduate. ABC's Bob Jamieson explains.
Set anything up. Georgia Tech and Connecticut. One will be the national champion, but both teams have dismal graduation rates, just 27%. And they're not alone. 25 of the 65 teams in the NCAA tournament had graduation rates 33% or below. All justification, the NCAA says, for its tough stance toward schools whose rates don't improve, cutting scholarships and even barring teams from the tournament.
These are strong measures. We expect the coaches to rise to the occasion. We certainly expect the student athletes to rise to the occasion. And while I don't believe it'll solve every problem, it will be a major step forward.
Scholarships are the currency of any major college basketball program, including the University of Arizona. But because so many stars leave early for the NBA, Coach Lute Olson is skeptical this will work.
The presidents were saying, well, you should recruit guys who are going to be in school for the whole time. Right. You know, that's not very realistic.
Michigan State, which lost in the early rounds of the tournament, has taken steps on its own to see that its players graduate, something supported by Coach Tom Izzo.
I think it's been a combination of working together with the professors, working together with our academic people, and the coaches all been on the same page.
Athletes at Michigan State can find help anytime they need it in a specially designed academic center. Staffed with guidance counselors and tutors, it has become popular with basketball players, including center Paul Davis.
It was a relief, you know, knowing that you have this place you can come to just about whenever you want, whether it be studying with a tutor, getting on a computer, or just, you know, quiet study by yourself.
The message from the NCAA is that if schools don't find a balance between the gym and the classroom on their own, for the first time, their teams may pay the price. Bob Jamison, ABC News, New York.
And a tragic anniversary in Rwanda remembered when we come back.
It's a beautiful morning. I was never one to sleep in, which is good because being a teacher, you never really get to. After all these years, I have to say I still look forward to going to school. And I'm pretty sure the kids do too.
Ask your doctor today about Vioxx and find out what Vioxx can do for you.
My doctor prescribed Vioxx and I stayed with it.
Vioxx.
It's time to end your relationship. With department store prices, come to the Burlington Coat Factory Easter Savings Event where you can get everything for way less. We've got the greatest selection of boy suits and girls' dresses and the latest in designer fashions for the whole family, all up to 60% off. Because happiness means never having to pay department store prices. The Easter Savings Event at Burlington Coat Factory, where saving is always in style.
A different generation needs a different kind of denture adhesive. C-Bond is a thin, soft wafer with 3 adhesives for all-day hold. No ooze or pasty mess. For a kind of hold and comfort you have to feel to believe. C-Bond, a different generation.
There's something great going around. Something so delicious, people can't get enough of it. It's these new reclosable bottles of Ensure. They're great tasting and go anywhere and everywhere you do to give you a good source of complete balanced nutrition to help you stay healthy. Enjoy Ensure as a snack or occasional meal in 5 creamy, rich flavors. Ensure, now in reclosable bottles. Drink to your health, wherever you go.
Wear contacts? Visine for contacts does more than re-wet your lenses. It really, really refreshes your eyes. Visine for contacts gets the dry out when contacts are in.
Can you keep your pancakes from sticking? Yes, you can. With Pam, America's favorite no-stick spray. Spray the pan, spray the spatula. With Pam, your pancakes just come out better. Pam, America's favorite no-stick spray.
Oh, I should have used Preparation H.
Cool it fast with Preparation H Cooling Gel with Vitamin E and Aloe. Cools on contact for fast relief. Preparation H Cooling Gel with Vitamin E and Aloe.
This week marks a terrible anniversary. Exactly 10 years ago in Rwanda, tribal violence erupted. Hutu extremists started a massacre that lasted 100 days. When it was over, an estimated 800,000 people were dead. ABC's Martin Seemungle is in Rwanda tonight with a look at how the world first learned of these atrocities. As you can imagine, it is difficult to see.
Today, St. Francis Xavier Church is a picture of peace and serenity. 10 years ago, it was hell on earth. These were the first pictures the world saw of Rwanda's genocide. John Shank of the aid organization World Vision was the cameraman.
Every time I took a shot, a little voice said, "Can we go now?" You know, and I thought, no. I said, we have to tell the story. The world has to know.
As many as 300 people died in St. Francis Xavier Church. People came to the church because they were convinced they would be safe here. The Hutu extremists attacked within hours. They used machetes and clubs. They shot through the windows. They even tore off parts of the roof so they could throw their grenades down on the people inside. Margarita Cantarama and her daughter, Flore, were in nearby church buildings. They both survived. Flore says she hid among the bodies. Her mother says she survived because they thought she was dead. For Marguerite, there is one image burned into her memory. I was with my 11-year-old son, she says, when they put a spear into his heart. I will never forget it. 2 weeks later, Shank arrived to capture the terrible aftermath on camera. But the world did nothing to intervene. The killing continued for another 2 months.
Schenk has returned for the first time to tell the people he filmed that theirs was the first story to reach the outside world. Mediatrice Mukhar Tabana is glad to hear that, but she says it won't change the reality of her life today. She says, I had 3 children and a husband. I am the only one who survived. I've accepted that, but there's nothing I have left. Martin Simungal, ABC News, Muzizi, Rwanda.
One young girl who managed to survive the violence in Rwanda lives here in the U.S. now and has joined forces with a survivor of a different horror. Here's ABC's Dan Harris.
This is the way hatred was being taught.
They faced genocide on different continents 50 years apart. David Gewurtzman, 75, a Jew from Poland, was a normal child until World War II, when most of his neighbors and friends were killed by the Nazis. He and his family escaped the death camps by hiding under a pigsty for 2 years.
16 people came back into the town out of the 8,000 who were there during the ghetto time.
Jacqueline Murekatete, 19, born in Rwanda, was just 9 years old when her parents, siblings, and most of her relatives were hacked to death by neighbors from a rival tribe. She survived by hiding in an orphanage.
I thought that it was a nightmare that I was going to wake up from and everything will be back to the way it was.
Jacqueline was adopted by an uncle in the U.S. and is now a college freshman. David is a volunteer for this Long Island Holocaust Memorial Center. Part of his work is telling his story to young people.
You have the same smile.
Yeah.
3 years ago, David spoke in Jacqueline's high school, and she wrote him this letter.
At one time, I too, like you, had a feeling of guilt for being alive. Why was I left? I asked myself.
It was, he says, like nothing he had ever read.
Closest I can say, that's a sister writing to me, a sister who was there with me during my genocide, and I felt like I'm in Africa being there during her genocide.
David and Jacqueline have since become friends and partners, speaking in schools together.
I couldn't understand how 3 months before I was like you guys, going to school, and I had goals and dreams, and then 3 months later, I was an orphan.
She talks about Rwanda, a genocide most people don't know about.
The Rwanda genocide, I hardly knew anything of.
Just shows how genocide happens. It's been happening throughout history.
Jacqueline and David say they want to speak for the victims of Rwanda and of the Holocaust, the ones with no voice.
They cannot say never again. They cannot say stop it. The only people, the only mouths that they can talk through is through us, through me and through Jacqueline, who are alive, who saw with our own eyes what happened.
Dan Harris, ABC News, New York.
2 eloquent voices. When we come back, losing members but gaining strength. A chorus shines.
Ask your doctor if Celebrex is right for you. Or call 1-888-CELEBREX.
I run 2 miles a day. I work. I take care of my family, my business, myself. I fight for what I want. I never stop trying. I test. I test 4 times a day. I'm a daughter, a mother, a wife. I am a diabetic. I am a diabetic, and this is my meter.
The new Accucheck compact system. No strip handling, finger or forearm test. Faster results. The one with the drum. Accucheck. Live life. Will fit in.
What's so great about Ziploc freezer bags? Tired of throwing away freezer-burned food? The Ziploc freezer bag with the extra thick freeze guard seal helps keep freshness in and freezer burn out. Ziploc freezer bags, redesigned with you in mind.
What's that?
Metamucil.
Get out. That's a cookie.
The power of powder in a wafer. Tastes so good, you won't believe it's Metamucil. Get regular, stay regular. The cookie way.
One day on vacation, Brian just said, this is where we belong. We opened the sandbar 3 months later. After Brian died, I thought about moving back, but this is our place.
Insurance from Mutual of Omaha. Begin today.
Allergy congestion keeping you awake? Try Breathe Right nasal strips. They gently lift open nasal passages for instant drug-free relief from allergy congestion, so you can sleep. Breathe better, feel better with Breathe Right.
Introducing Kellogg's Special K Vanilla Almond Cereal. Toasted almonds, creamy vanilla flavor. It's a 110-calorie treat that only tastes indulgent. New Special K Vanilla Almond. Help yourself.
What did the doctor say?
He said the best thing for my arthritis pain is to keep moving my knee. Aleve will help me move without pain all day.
Doctors know Aleve has the strength to relieve arthritis pain for up to 12 hours. Keep moving all day with Aleve.
Coming to ABC Monday night, a 3-hour world television event, Jesus and Paul. Peter Jennings takes you on an exhilarating journey to the very beginnings of Christianity.
That's quite unbelievable.
You've never seen anything like this on network television. Jesus and Paul, the Word and the Witness. Monday night, starting at 8/7 Central.
Finally this evening, Songs of Strength. Over the last 25 years, the Seattle Men's Chorus has grown from a group of amateurs to a renowned musical organization along the way. However, it has lost an astounding number of singers to AIDS. This weekend, the chorus is remembering those singers and celebrating its survival.
At the sound of your voice, heaven opens its portals to me.
We're not just a good gay chorus, we're a good chorus. And by golly, we can stand up on the stage with anybody, including Frederica von Stade.
I feel something very magic about the whole event. I feel something magic about the whole organization.
The chorus started in 1979 with just 22 men.
A quarter of a century ago was when the gay movement was finally getting on its feet, and the Seattle Men's Chorus was a very big part of that movement.
Today, there are more than 200 voices, but growing along with the chorus was the specter of AIDS. In the 80s and 90s, the group was decimated.
I lived through that whole era with the chorus. I sang at so many memorial services and funerals. It was very difficult. It was, and I think about it and I still, you know, because we've lost 101 of our members over the years.
Taken names.
101 dead of AIDS. They were remembered last night.
And it's left my heart in pain.
But the mood at last night's concert was mostly upbeat. And thoughts today are on the future.
We're suddenly visible to our straight friends, and we're not nearly as scary as we used to be. And that's because of groups like the Seattle Men's Chorus, who have proudly stood up and shown their faces to the world and testified to our humanity in the process.
And congratulations to them. That is our report tonight. I'm Elizabeth Vargas. For all of us at ABC News, good night.
This week, a deadly terror plot foiled. What could have happened? An ABC News exclusive. Plus, how the government wasted your money in 2003 on World News Tonight. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
An ABC special presentation.
Behold his mighty hand.
Of one of the greatest epics of all time, The Ten Commandments, ABC Tonight, 7/6 Central.
Next on K2 News, supporters of the man shot by Portland police are staging a rally to call for change within the police bureau. We'll have a live report. Plus, what began as a fire investigation turned into a death investigation as firefighters find 2 bodies inside this charred home. And a police chase begins in Albany and ends in Salem.
Live at 6:30, K2 News with Dan Tilken, Anna Song, and exclusive microcast weather with Julia Radley. K2 and you, the spirit of the Northwest.
Good evening, I'm Anna Song.
And I'm Dan Tilken. First on 2, hundreds of people are rallying in downtown Portland against the Portland Police Bureau in last Sunday's deadly shooting of an unarmed man. You're looking at a live picture.
He